need to start, when you talk of financial literacy, much younger. That too much focus has been on how you cannot educate Wanjiku during the term of an offer period. It will not work. You need to start building knowledge and understanding from an education base, building it into curriculum so people understand what is the scope of financial products that are out there. What should I be allocating my funds to? You know, too many people are standing in IPO lines with no idea what they're investing in and what is the likely performance of what they're about to invest in. And when, as markets do, prices go up as well as down, they believe they have been cheated. Whereas there was very detailed disclosure as to the likely performance of a particular security. We are the biggest proponents of supporting industry to develop effective, transparent, and robust self-regulatory structures. That is the reality of where we are as a market and where we need to grow. But that requires the market to take on significantly more responsibility and to allocate resources to effectively address that. In our experience, we have found that the timeline for regulation development in Kenya is extremely slow, and it may not be conducive to really creating an appropriate environment for business growth if we keep saying, until there's a regulation, nothing will happen. That is why under the amendments in end of 2013, we now have a principle-based approval framework that allows us to look at new products in the context of whether there are the structures being proposed address, you know, investor protection, transparency, robustness, market infrastructure, and on that basis, we can let something come in and start operating in the market as we look to put in a regulatory framework that will now actually address the gaps and weaknesses of the product, as opposed to giving direction on this is the only way a product can be developed. With new frameworks coming online, I think we've also experienced significant feedback on we didn't understand that that was our new compliance obligation. And I think there is also an obligation on the market to make sure you have compliance officers and you keep that frame of engagement open. One of the challenges is also the road we've taken in developing the framework. As a consequence of, you know, even some of the delays and challenges in passing new statutory provisions, new regulatory provisions, you know, they end up being developed not, as it were, chronologically and consistently, but multiple are in the mix at the same time. So that there does sometimes create an overlap in obligations. But I think that comes more down to the operational procedures we'll use to assess compliance as opposed to what's in the law. Someone needs to understand, if I want this license, what's the full spectrum of my obligations? So those need to be laid out in the law. It will then come to our operational procedures for assessing compliance that will go to how we can smooth that process over.